the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomás Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to Icons of Real Estate. I'm your host, Tomás Grilo, and today we're joined by Don David, a stalwart in New York City residential real estate for over 2 decades. From luxury developments to investment properties, Don's savvy negotiation and market insight have sealed countless successful deals. Beyond brokerage, Don's financial acumen and infectious charm have endeared to her clients and condo boards alike. With a knack for turning stress into excitement, she's made lasting connections and transformed real estate into a thrilling adventure. Off duty, Dawn explores New York City's cultural delights, fueling her passion for the city she calls home. Join us as we dive into Dawn's journey, insights, and love for real estate. Welcome, Dawn.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
Nice. So here on Icons, we love stories. Can you tell us your journey and spare us no details?
So, as you said, I've been in this business for 20 years. It's a tough business, so I like to pat myself on the back every now and again. I started with a rental firm in New York City and quickly was able to dive right into new development, which was super amazing. My first building that I did, which was located in Chelsea, was strikingly gorgeous inside and out, and that's what really drew me to the project. And I was super excited once I scored a spot on the team. And of course, with my charm, I wowed the developer and ended up doing countless projects with him throughout the city, working on site. I also formed my own company, Don David LLC, and I traded transactions single-handedly by myself separately while working with this particular developer. Mm-hmm. And my last project, which was in Carnegie Hill, I decided after the property being sold that I wanted to jump back into resale. So I'm actually now in transition mode. So this is a great opportunity to share some of that with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you. And we're real thrilled. Don, in your extensive experience with new developments and like the Wales and 27 East 79th, what are some key skills you have acquired in understanding the bones of a property and assessing its quality construction?
Well, for both of these particular projects, they are ground up developments. So what that means is the building comes down, for 27 East 79th Street, that building was ground up. So the old building came down, the new building. And it was super interesting just to be able to see the birth of that building from beginning to end. It was so interesting to be able to work alongside the construction foremen, to be able to ask questions in real time, especially as savvy buyers were walking through the building. For the smart ones that got in early, the questions that they had, I was able to literally go to the guy and say, hey, what's holding these 2 floors together? They want to know what's going here, what's not going here. And it was very good just to be able to get that information to buyers in real time. Mm-hmm. And I think that added to why both of those properties sold out fairly quickly. The Wales in particular, most of those deals were done pre-construction. So that was an amazing opportunity for the project to sell out sooner than later.
Yeah. So you were in the Wales, for example, you were able to raise capital before even like the
exactly. And that's so important, just to create the excitement and the buzz. It also gives people an opportunity to ask for certain things to be done that typically are not able to be done once the walls are closed. Yeah. So that was nice.
Yeah. So for buyers interested in new developments, like navigating the intricate details can be overwhelming. How do you guide your clients through this process, like ensuring they make informed decisions about the property they're considering?
Well, what I found particularly with the Wales was, to kind of give you an example, this is a landmark building. So the exterior, the gorgeous exterior was preserved while you did a gut renovation on the inside. And being able to witness the exposed brick that was hidden behind sheetrock that was stacked one on top of the other from floor to ceiling,
Mhm.
buyers were able to see how structurally sound the property was. I mean, it literally was pin drop quiet, although that property is positioned on a busy corner on Madison Avenue.
Okay.
So for me, being the broker, you literally turn into the contractor, the architect, the interior designer to create the vision of what the end product will look like. And that definitely takes time, and you end up developing your niche in that regard.
Okay, that's amazing. So new developments projects often come with unique challenges and considerations. And can you share, like you already shared more than one, but can you share another example from like your career where your expertise in evaluating like property and construction quality play like a crucial role in helping the client make a successful investment in this type of like real estate?
Well, I always refer back to the Wales because that was the most recent project.
Okay.
And this building is in a historical district. And it was also a condominium in a co op market.
Okay.
So it's nice that buyers feel like they're getting something that's rare on the market. It's
Okay.
also a big part of my sales pitch to people was, when you think of new development, you typically think of the building coming down and then going back up. And usually those buildings go up in 2 seconds. And this particular project, which is a landmark building and stunningly beautiful on the outside, you're getting the benefit of the best of both worlds. You're getting the classical pre-war landmark structure that's being preserved on the outside with the
Yeah.
benefit of all brand new on the inside. And
Mm-hmm.
that really is hard to find in new development. And this particular project went from 80 something, hotel rooms to 21 condominium residences, which truly was phenomenal, particularly for this part of town. That's iconically surrounded by the best schools, a block from Central Park. So it really was a no-brainer if you were able to get into the building.
Yeah, that was impressive. You were the one already there, so that's impressive. So Don, like transitioning from new developments to resale can require a different approach. How did you go about making contacts and building your brand in the resale market after establishing yourself in the luxury new development scene?
Well, given that this is happening in real time, it's a great question,
Mhm.
because for the first time in my 20-year career, I'm not attached to a building. You know, that was my comfort zone.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of excitement and anxiety all at once as I rebuild my business model and expand my brand. And I'm realizing that I will do anything from rent a $2,500 rental in Brooklyn to hoping to sell a $20 million apartment on the Upper East Side.
Wow.
Most brokers will focus on one or the other, and I want to have the versatility of really putting myself out there as I get my feet wet back into resale.
Mhm.
My formula thus far is setting goals. I'm committed to going into my office 2 to 3 times a week just to stay connected to colleagues and find out what's happening with office activities. I'm talking to everyone that I know, old and new people, and continuing education is a must. The market is so fluid and rules change all the time. You want to stay abreast of market conditions. So right now I'm signing up for classes on various platforms, whether it's through my brokerage, another brokerage, Rebney, just really making sure that I have the best tools to educate my clients, because really and truly, that's what builds trust and gets deals done.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I'm speechless. So building a brand in real estate is crucial for long-term like success. Could you share some insights into how you crafted your own brand identity during your transition to resale and what strategies you found most effective in standing out in the competitive like market?
I could actually go back to speaking from starting my own company, running Dawn David LLC, pretty much for most of my career, and also just being a one woman show where I didn't really have the advantage of having, again, going back to the classes,
Mhm.
the resources that you will have with a larger firm per se. I had to really stay connected to my community and to my clients. And what I did was I was always made sure that even after I did a deal, that I was still available to be resourceful to them. I'm the broker that does everything from A to Z. So I'll give you an example. Recently, I did a rental. After I got the listing, I also did the prep work to turn the apartment over. So I
Mhm.
hired the painter, the cleaners, did all the punch list items. And that owner was so blown away. It was an investment property. So, this person didn't live there. And he was so blown away with the customer service of me not just finding a great tenant in the end of November, December, which no one likes to move. Once everything was signed, sealed, and delivered, he turned around and he sent me three amazing clients,
Wow.
of which that was a rental deal. And he sent me two sale clients and another rental client. And I realized that it was because I had gone above and beyond what a broker is supposed to do to really deliver exceptional customer service that he would not have gotten elsewhere. And even though that deal is completed, every now and again, I still pick up the phone to say, hey, how's everything going? Are there any issues in the apartment? So I'm still kind of sort of managing
Yeah.
his tenant. Yeah. And I find that following up and being proactive goes a long way, particularly in this business.
Yeah, it's really important because we're not only selling houses or giving the best place. At the same time, we spend so much time with the clients, and like you were saying, we have so many talks with them during a lot of time that we kind of create connections with them, and we feel like they're not only our clients, or we become kind of friends because there's so many time we spend with them. Uh,
Precisely. Another thing that I was going to say is I'm working on a listing now. And to give you an example, another good example is I'm also looking into staging the apartments. So that becomes my job and not, the owner's job, which typically it can be the owner's job. So you have to really think outside the box and provide as much, service as
okay.
you can so that these clients remember you and take you with them.
Yeah, definitely. I have a different question. So in the diverse real estate landscape, New York City, like finding a niche, and you already gave us an example that you did on the whales, can be an instrumental in the differentiation thing on itself. Like, what steps did you take to identify and create a niche for yourself in the resale market, and how has this specialization contributed to your success? Sorry.
Well, creating a niche, just means for me personally, deciding who you want to be and where. And I think in my case, I'm going to have a niche all over the city. It's going to be primarily, I would say, New York City and Brooklyn. I'm not looking to do business in Queens or the Bronx.
Okay.
Have I done it before? Of course. I was
Mhm.
working with someone, we started in Astoria. And surprisingly enough, I was able to sell a house on the borderline of Yonkers and Riverdale.
Mhm.
And it just means giving people as much information as possible. I've done more business with people that haven't done a deal with me specifically because they've referred me out to somebody else. Going back to the whales, I always wanted to make my tours fun and exciting. Real estate should be fun. I know it can be stressful at times, but I really enjoyed meeting people in that lobby, taking them through. And again, whether it was during the construction phase of bringing them up in the hoist elevator outside the building, I might say, here's your opportunity to touch and feel all of this gorgeous architecture that normally you just would be able to stand on the corner and look up at.
Yeah.
And people were just so excited that we were chuckling along the way, we were laughing. I really listened to their needs. Sometimes you realize somebody came in for this floor plan, but after a few moments of conversation, you realize, well, you know what? This one's a little bit beyond your budget, but it's more suitable for your needs. Clients really appreciate that you're going the extra mile
Mhm.
to give them what they want. And surprisingly enough, we've gotten more than a few deals done that way, where people always come in for the starter price range. But once you present yourself and market yourself and let people know that they are in the best building in Carnegie Hill, they feel special and they want to live there.
Yeah. Would
So
you
many
like?
people say to me,
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many people say that they will let, if they're not going to live there for one reason or another, we stay connected. They let me know. They will say they really appreciated the tour. So my goal is to always make it fun and exciting.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So would you say that could be one of the most unexpected places to meet new clients? Like,
For me personally, I think the best places for me have been cozy spaces, airplanes has been
mhm,
really good, restaurants. If I'm doing a new development project, I tend to frequent, social places in that particular neighborhood. I make sure that I make friends with all of the bartenders and all of the waitresses.
okay.
They always have a stack of my business cards. And then I am literally having dinner in those spaces. There's one particular restaurant that I love on the Upper East Side. The tables are so squished together, you're literally eating at someone else's table. And I'm definitely not shy about leaning over and introducing myself and telling folks what I do. And because I'm old fashioned, I always
Okay.
have a business card handy. But I find that I'm so amazed that a lot of brokers don't carry business cards anymore.
Mhm.
Everyone's so tech savvy and downloading and streaming and doing this. Sometimes you have to go the old fashioned routes, particularly in Carnegie Hill, where you tend to have a more mature crowd. It's always good to hand out a card. And you definitely stand out when you're doing what other people are not.
I,
So
I loved your approach. Why do all the bartenders need to know you? Do you create a certain, like, not an harmony, like you feel like your clients are going to be in a more cozy place?
Well, I find that it's easier to make contact with people in a cozy space if you're sitting at the bar. If
Hmm.
you are, again, at this particular restaurant that I
Yeah.
love, if
Hmm.
I'm at my table, it's very easy for me to lean to the left or lean to the right and start a conversation. And it just becomes very engaging, particularly when you're doing a new development project in that particular neighborhood, because
Hmm.
people have walked by the building once or twice. Even if they're not looking, they're curious, they're interested. And once again, even if they're not looking to move, maybe their friend is, maybe their mother is, maybe their sister is, maybe their brother is. So I've just had very good success in meeting clients in cozier spaces where it's much easier to make contacts.
That's amazing. So, but what are the traits of like developers and how to gain their trust?
Well, if you talk to most brokers, they might say crazy, but I'm just kidding. Um, Developers tend to be demanding, of course. They have minimal negotiability because they're always looking to hold out for the best prices, and that usually takes time sometimes with new development projects. And they always think they know it all. They think that their project is the best on the market. And that's understandable given everything that goes into the birth of a new project. They
Mhm.
should get the return on the investment. What I've learned being a new development broker is that you should be proactive. You must be proactive. You have to be proactive. You go to them before they come to you. And that means knowing your comp set. What is your competing buildings doing? What are they not doing? What should you be doing? Because you always want to set the bar. You always want
Mhm.
to be the leader. I always made sure to report in real time what buyers were saying during my tours. What do they like? What don't they like? This also finishes, layouts, the functionality of spaces. You definitely want to let them know if there's a new and notable amenity in the neighborhood that will have added value with your marketing. Like I said, you just give them as much information as possible because even if they won't change it for that particular project, it usually helps to shape another project. And if you make yourself valuable, even pointing out construction flaws, assisting with punch list.
So, looking back at your journey, what do you consider like the most valuable lesson you have learned about thriving in the real estate industry amidst challenges and growth?
Well, I will start by saying if you want to be successful, never give up. It's never easy. I'll go back to this last project once again. Most of my projects, I've been in the building was standing. I've already been in the building. I was never really trained to sell what wasn't built, where you had to actually be creative and hold the client's hand a little bit more tighter than normal. And
Okay.
I realized it took me some time, but I just rolled up my sleeves and got to work. And you have to focus on doing what you're good at. And what I'm good at organically is connecting with people. Learn the product, learn the neighborhood. Once people trust you, they will be very happy to be led by you.
Yeah.
And now that I've done it, it has encouraged me the sky's the limit. I'm ready to get back out there. I don't want to be on a team so quickly. I'm still finding myself and discovering my formula for success this time around. And again, I've been in the business for 20 years. I like to keep saying that because, again, it is a tough business, but I learn something new every single day.
Yeah.
You learn something new in this business every single day. So
And
I'm happy to be.
let me just give you one more fact. Because you're in the business for 20 years, you already seen market crashes and you still are here, and that's impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's always good, whenever you're faced with a negative, always try to turn it into a positive. So since you have brought up various market turmoils, especially very recently with interest rates rising, I realized that clients were starting to shy away from deals. And I had to remind them, these are not high rates. These are normal rates. We were spoiled by super low rates. When my
Definitely.
parents bought in the 70s, they bought at double-digit interest rates. You always have the opportunity to refinance, and it's always a great opportunity to get in where you fit in. That's what real estate is all about. And typically that happens when the market isn't good. And if you are able to do that, you can usually make a lot more money when the market turns around.
Yep.
So, just get out there, connect with people, be optimistic, and last but not least, believe in yourself.
That's one more than one valuable lesson, but thank you so much. Where do you go from here? What are your goals?
My goals are just to be as successful as possible. I don't want to say I'm taking it slow, but I am carefully deciding what I'm going to be doing. I realize that I'm here. I want to be here, and you have to figure out how to get there step by step. So
Yep.
for me, I'm in the process of doing that. I'm reconnecting to as many people as possible, old clients, I'm meeting new clients. And every day I try to take a meeting. Like I have lunch at a hot new restaurant, excuse me, not lunch, dinner at a hot new restaurant in New York City with actually former clients. They heard about the fact that I'm temporarily hanging up my new development hat. And so I'm excited to see them and have them spread the word. They actually live in California. They have a pied-à-terre in New York City at one of the buildings that we talked about. So it is nice that they're excited to see me as well. And I'm going to use this opportunity, spring, summer, just to really put myself out there and see what the next chapter holds. So it is very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. We got one last fun question for you. So, Icons of Real Estate is the #1 real estate podcast network and is passionate about making podcasting accessible. So, tell me, Don, if you had your own podcast, what would you call it?
I would probably call it Dawn David NYC.
NYC. Why is that?
I'm a diehard New Yorker, and as much as I love to travel, actually, I just got back from New Zealand like last week.
Nice.
Been to 30 countries and counting. Interestingly enough, after the first week, I always want to come back home to New York City, and I've only ever lived in the city. It makes sense that I'm licensed here. I always considered maybe being licensed in New Jersey or Florida, and then I quickly come to my senses and realize that it's all about New York City. I love all of the cultural diversities that the city has to offer, and it really is my home. So I like to make sure that I remember where I came from, and I feel like I'm going to be here forever.
Don, I totally get you. It's definitely not difficult to fall in love with the New York City. And
Yes.
for you to call it home, that's you will grow there. So we definitely understand you. One more, how can our audience reach you?
So I am in transition mode, as I said. The best email is dawn.david@corcoran.com. Corcoran is CORCORAN. And, I'll definitely stay connected with you so we can send some updates at that time. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah. As we conclude today's episode of Icons of Real Estate podcast, I want to extend an heartfelt thank you to our guest, Don David. Don, your insights into the world of New York City real estate have been truly enlightening. From your experience with new developments to your strategies for success, in challenging markets. Your expertise has left an indelible mark on our listeners. Don, it's been a pleasure having you with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, passion, and enthusiasm for real estate. We wish you continued success in all endeavors. Until we meet again, farewell and best wishes from all of us at Icons of Real Estate.